Rachel from the Curated Tomato on Instagram, where I give all things reseller related tips and advice, and you can just follow along on my journey of becoming a full-time Poshmark reseller. And you can check out my Poshmark closet at Tomato Cakes. Today I am doing a video for you guys that has been frequently requested, and it may not apply to every single one of you, but hopefully you can still glean some ideas from it to apply to your closet, even if you are an established reseller. But today is, by popular request, how to get started as a reseller on Poshmark. I've gotten this in the comments and messages from you guys several times asking if I could do a video just about how to get started as a reseller on Poshmark. And this doesn't necessarily mean as a full-time reseller. It may just be that you are wanting to be a part-time reseller or a hobbyist, but you still want to make a side income. You still want to have that extra money coming in and get involved in the reselling life. So how to get started on Poshmark. Number one, list. Just get started. I've talked to people before that say like they haven't gotten started, they are toying with the idea, they're looking into it, they want to, but they're like, I don't have the right setup yet, I don't have lights, I don't have like a fancy background or anything. You know what? None of us did when we started. None of us. We all started putting something on a rug on the floor, hanging it up on the wall with like a 3M, hanger. None of us started at the point that we are today. It's a growth, it's a learning experience and opportunity. That's okay. But items that are not listed won't sell. I mean, it's kind of a fact. So if you have things that you want to clean out, you have things that you want to sell, list it. It's so easy to get just like a little hook and put it on the wall, just get a hanger, and you can still make your listings look nice even if you don't have the money yet to invest into a lot of equipment, which I really wouldn't recommend that people invest that much into it immediately anyway, because you don't know how you're gonna like it or if you're gonna decide that you want to continue doing it. So just give yourself a chance and keep trying before you invest too much money. I think that's one of the really amazing things about reselling and Poshmark is that it's not like a multi-level marketing company or something like that where you have to buy into it to get started. You don't have to buy a kit. You don't have to spend money on anything. Literally just clean out your closet. So that leads me to tip number two. Wait to start spending money to source until you have kind of gotten a feel for how it works, how the app works, how the activity that's required for sales on Poshmark works. And just before you decide if you really like it, clean out your own closet. When I started, I had 3 huge Tupperware bins of clothes that I had cleaned out from my closet when I got pregnant with my daughter, and I had cleaned it all out. I had put them in these Tupperware bins, and like a year later, they didn't fit. They weren't really my style anymore. So that's what I started with. I had 3 bins of clothes, and I just started taking pictures, and none of them, it was clothes that I would probably never pick up while I was sourcing today. I would not even take it off the rack to look at it. It was like Target and Maurice's and Gap and Express, and that's like American Eagle. That's like what I wore, and that's what I had, but it sold. It didn't sell for much. My average sale price back then was like $8 to $10, but it's still money that's coming in that otherwise the items are just sitting. They're just sitting. That's what I did. I started with that, and then when I had like $50 and that I could cash out, I would take that $50 to the thrift store and buy a few more things, slightly better brands, better styles, newer styles, things like that. And so that's how I started, and so for a little while I really didn't have any profit or money coming from it because I just kept taking the earnings and putting it back into thrifting, into inventory. I did that for a while. I did that for several months. because I didn't want to take out a loan. I didn't want to use credit cards. I really would recommend that you clean out your own closet, find what works for you. I've said this before. I know I've said it on the podcast, and I've said it, I think, on my videos before as well, but it's okay if something sells for somebody else and it doesn't sell for you. That's okay. Because there is enough demand for clothing that something will sell for you. You just have to find what it is. There's certain brands that other people on YouTube and Instagram and things like that talk about, and they say it's like their, favorite brand to sell. And I've picked it up before simply because I've seen those videos, I've seen those posts about it, and I've picked it up before and I still have the items. It literally will not move for me. But other people, it works for them. Because the thing is that it seems like you develop your own clientele or following that seem to understand and recognize kind of what your closet is like. I'm not saying you can't change that, because I have worked on increasing my average sale price, increasing my price per item. So I've worked on doing that to try to adjust and change and make a little bit more per item versus what I had when I started out. People kind of learn to expect a style from your closet, and so that's what keeps them coming back. It's okay if something doesn't sell for you that sells for somebody else, because chances are something sells for you that they can't move, and that's okay. And I think it's really important to remember, especially when you're starting out, but it's something that all of us need to remember, even 2.5 years into the game, to be authentic, to stay true to yourself, to believe that what works for you may not work for somebody else, and that's okay, and vice versa. And I think that's really important. It's a bug. Because it's hard when you have all these things coming at you sometimes when you open your Instagram and you open your Poshmark and you look on YouTube and Twitter and all these. Is anybody on Twitter anymore? I don't know. I don't do Twitter really. I probably should, but I don't. But when you have all of that coming at you, it's really hard to feel comfortable and confident in what works for you sometimes. I feel that way even when I am scrolling through my social media. I just want to encourage you guys to find what works for you and be okay with that. But start with what you already have, so that you don't have to put out a lot of money, or any money really, to start making a little bit in sales, because you can do it with what you have, and then you can grow and change and develop it into what you really want. So tip number 3, get involved in the community. This may include creating a second Instagram account that is entirely for your reselling, because your friends and family may not be that interested in it, and so it may hold you back from being more involved in the community, interacting as much, because you may be a little bit self-conscious about it, or whatever is holding you back. I think it's really good to just get a second account. You can easily create a second account and make that an account just for reselling, where you are able to interact with other people in the community and learn from them, and eventually begin, sharing your own experience and helping other people. And that's really fun to see the transition where you begin to be able to give back. But I think that that's really important. It's like the number one resource for educating yourself, because there's so much information that's out there, and there's people that are willing to help. It's really nice to have that camaraderie with friendships that you make, because if you do end up doing reselling full time, you're alone a lot, you're home a lot, you have to motivate yourself. Yeah. So it's important to have that community. So I would say get involved on social media, because some people have asked me when I've done closet consultations and things like that, should I really get started on Instagram or social media and stuff? And I say, yeah, it'll take a while for you to grow it to something that will actually affect your sales. The education and community is definitely worth it. I think that it's really important to add on a second account, make it a totally separate. If you want to, like, I have my personal account private, and I'm honestly rarely on it. I just post pictures of the kids, and I just didn't really want to have that connected, Number 4, take it seriously. If this is something that you're really interested in doing, it doesn't matter what other people say. If people are like, oh my God, you're selling used clothes online, like what? It's kind of becoming like a kind of cooler thing. People are hearing about it more. You know, there's been articles in Forbes about Poshmark, and there's people featured on morning shows. And so it's becoming a little bit more well known. Like, take it seriously, and it's okay that you want to sell people's trash online. That's okay. It's kind of funny to tell people, like, they're like, oh, what do you do? Oh, my own business, I work for myself. Oh, that's awesome. What do you do? I sell people's trash online. And their face is just like, okay, cool. It's kind of fun. Anyway, so take it seriously. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme at all. It's not passive. It requires daily commitment and activity and functioning on the app. eBay may be a little different. Well, no, eBay makes you have to list every single day on eBay too. It takes work. It takes time and effort and energy involved. It takes a lot of work to grow it, to build it to something. Be willing to put that into it. And it may take some time before you see steady results. And that's normal. Anything that is actually a legitimate means of income or business is not something that's going to immediately happen overnight. It's just not going to happen. It may take a few months for you to figure out what sells best for you, or to figure out a routine. And so be committed to it, and don't get like discouraged immediately if you don't have sales right away. There's a couple people that I've talked to locally that I've helped kind of get started with, get started with their Poshmark closet. And you know, one of them, I think they had stuff listed for like 2 or 3 weeks and still hadn't had a sale. And I understand that gets really discouraging. But the important thing is to continue pushing, to keep, my hair is like, to continue pushing and like keep trying, keep listing, keep sharing, things like that. Even if you don't have a lot of listings yet, you can still be active on the app and following people, because following is really important. Sharing your own closet, and just growing that following and developing your account and your presence on the Poshmark app. That's really important. I think that it's a good thing to remember that you can see results from this. There's no specific requirement for you to be successful. You just have to be willing to try. You just have to want it. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, but it can be really fun too. And it can be a rewarding experience. So those are my 4 tips for how to get started as a reseller on Poshmark. Hopefully it helped you, I hope. Comment below if you have advice that you would give somebody as a reseller, as a new seller on Poshmark, somebody who just came across this whole world of Posh reselling. If you have not listened yet, I have a podcast that I host with a few of my PFFs that I met at PoshFest in 2018. We are growing significantly. It's been very exciting to see the growth of the podcast. It is called Reseller Water Cooler, and we are here to be your coworkers, your buddies, whatever, hang out, shoot the breeze, and just talk about reselling and all the things that comes along with that in juggling a full-time job and reselling part-time, being a full-time reseller, being a reseller with kids, everything that's involved in reseller life we talk about. And you can find us on iTunes, Google, Spotify, basically anywhere that you listen to podcasts, we are there. And we would love for you to listen. So look up Reseller Water Cooler. You can follow us on Instagram as well at Reseller Water Cooler. And don't forget to subscribe. The episodes are free. They'll always be free. Hopefully give you a little break in your day as you are working, and we can come hang out with you. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm really sorry it's been such a long time since I put up a video. This summer has just really kicked my ass. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I've had a lot going on with moving to a new office and my son having surgery. And very soon I will have a video tour of my new office space for you guys. It's amazing. I love it so much. And I want to show you guys my office space. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped you, just gave you a little bit of advice about getting started on Poshmark. And Charlie says to subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit like, and thanks for joining. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.